Hey everyone, this is James Ellers. Welcome back to Ford United. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Heidi Briones. Heidi, how you doing?
I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so glad we're able to talk. Like I feel like we've gone back and forth on Twitter forever. What seems like forever. And
Yeah.
now you're like in the home stretch for your own run for Congress. How do you feel about everything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. It's weird, you know how it is because there's not polls or anything, so you're just kind of
Right?
like, I don't know. I did the best I could do with what I had. Like,
I know that's like that was the biggest thing towards the end of my race was like everybody's like, "How are you doing?" And like you want to give a more accurate answer, but
okay.
there's no polling
Yeah.
for local races, like, and that's something I really feel like Yang Gang needs to do. That maybe that's something we'll do. Just like
Yeah,
polling.
it's just expensive, but yeah, I mean, you can commission them. You can certainly pay like a marketing company to do a poll if you have, whatever it costs. I don't know, maybe 20 grand. I don't know what it would cost, but yeah, most we don't have that. I mean, so, we just don't have the money to do that right now. But hopefully, we can get more organized in the future and figure out, a way to get polling done so that people have that data.
Yeah, and that's just one piece of the
Yeah.
many pieces of elections that are just too expensive for no reason.
Oh my gosh, so many things like buying voter data. Like you buy this voter data and it's like thousands of dollars and then it's all garbage. And you're just like, what in the heck,
Yeah,
And you're like, what did I just pay for? Or you buy some really expensive like program or software that's supposed to do X, Y, Z, and
yep,
you find out it barely does that, and their
right.
support is horrible, and you're just like, what did I just pay $3,000 for? Like, I don't know. There's just all that stuff that comes up. Hey, Megan, how's it going? Yeah, the untold costs. Twitter impressions. Okay.
No, I
If
mean you're
Twitter
doing
impressions would win elections, then Yang Gang is taking over the whole
well.
thing.
Well, this is the thing. Yang Gang is fairly new to the political game, right?
Yeah, super
Like
new.
it's something where this is. I think with the more time that goes on, the better we're doing. Like you're doing better than I did, and I hope hopefully I helped out a little bit in the beginning. But I feel like the more time goes on, like the better we're getting at everything. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, we're learning a lot of things. I mean, some things I kind of already knew, which is cool. Just from being, decent at social media, I was able to
Yeah,
be like, okay, well, this is just marketing. I mean, politics is just like marketing on steroids kind of thing. It's just like, like how do I get people, emotional about me in some way and
yeah,
interested in some way and curious in some way. And it's all just marketing. And if you're good at social media, then you can do some pretty interesting things. It doesn't always translate to votes. At least, it just depends. It depends on the district and situation and the funding. But the cool thing is we've done some really cool things with video, Facebook
yeah.
ads. Distributed forward helped us with text and phone banking. So I had like a full infrastructure going on. I wish I had obviously more time and more staff,
Yeah.
and more money, time, money, people. All those things help. But the message that we have is very strong. And if people look into me, in general, they do like me. So that's what we have to rely on.
Yeah, and that's the way the narrative needs to go. You know what I mean? Because my what I ran into a lot is people. I don't know if they're just fatigued on politics, but we need people to actually dig in more to candidates
Yeah.
because I feel like if we had people vote based on the actual candidate and their policies and how they feel about the candidate versus just name recognition, it would be completely different. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like how well I think you're going to do well. Like
Let's see. I mean, the cool thing about Oregon is they have vote by mail already in
yeah,
place. And the nice thing about vote by mail is you get your little voters pamphlet a couple weeks before, well, I guess like a week before, actually, a week before you get your ballot. So you can read about the candidates and the issues, and then you get your ballot and you can actually sit there and do your research, and vote at home.
That's awesome.
without having to be like, oh man, I just got off work and I'm all stressed out and let me try to run to the polls. And I don't know who these people are. I'll just vote for who I like. So we do have that advantage of people having more time to possibly check me out.
I know the more I hear you talk about the whole process in Oregon, the more jealous I get about like how it just sounds so awesome just compared to a lot of other states. It's just such a mess, which is crazy. So so you got on the ballot, you got the signatures you needed for the candidate statement, which is awesome.
Luckily, before COVID-19, yeah, we got that all together. That would have been a lot harder.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like the rest of this whole election cycle, like thankfully, like when you win your primary, it's pretty much a lock-in for the general, right? Just based on.
Oh yeah, it's a solid, safe Democratic district. I mean, it hasn't been Republican since 1975, so
that's good. So you get past. So once you get past this part, you don't have to do as much of the craziness with the whole pandemic thing, which is going to be an entire mess.
Well, I mean, yeah. And then also you get, if you win a primary, a Democratic primary, you get funding and resources from the Democratic Party. Because they're like, well, we don't want to lose this seat. Hey,
oh, yeah, for sure.
Hey, Megan, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. On this note, I read something a week or two ago. Someone said if you're named Heidi, then you're very good for the Yang Gang.
There are a lot of cool Heidis in the Yang Gang.
I know. I almost had Heidi Day, Yang Vets was going to come on, but she had to pick up her son. So I almost had both of you on the same channel. So close. We'll do it.
Gavin. Gavin lives in my district.
Does he? That's awesome.
Yeah. He has a yard sign up on his yard and everything, and he put a bunch of signs up.
That's awesome. Should funding for independent polling in down ballot races be part of democracy reform? Yeah, honestly, because the independent polling, like if the incumbent has the money to pay for polling, and a lot of times they do this even through the congressional budget, which is kind of BS. It gives them a lot more of an advantage over the people that are actually running against them. Like I think the statistics for people that are incumbents, they win like 95% of the time.
It's 85, but yeah.
85?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something. Voting like that sounds amazing. Yes. I know. You can check out Oregon.
Vote by mail is a cool system. High voter participation. There's a lot of myths around it, but overall it's very safe, and there's been very, very little fraud, like insignificant in comparison to the benefits.
Well, especially with everything going on right now, like I don't understand how anyone can oppose vote by mail.
Oh, because they know that Republicans lose when there's vote by mail.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Voter participation goes up, and more people in general favor the policies of the Democratic Party if they're given a choice. If it comes down to it, it is the majority of the people that feel certain things, that feel that we should have healthcare for everybody. More people feel that way than not, So when it comes down to it, if you give more people the opportunity, they will generally vote more Democratic, and Republicans don't like that because then they're left out, and it's the reality of it.
Exactly. It's like the only opposition is political. Like California, I think today or yesterday came out as a vote. They're going to do completely vote by mail in the general, and Trump's like livid. Like he was.
Yeah, because he's going to lose a shit ton of votes, because if you make it easier for people, then sorry, conservatives don't do as well. I mean, they benefit from, lots of limiting voting structures, and it's unfortunate. They should really, just get on board with things that people actually like.
Well, no, exactly.
Like trying to stop. Like, why don't you support some things that people like, and find out a conservative argument for these things that people want, and try to, work together with people to pass it instead of just trying to stop people from voting.
Right, exactly. Like you would think logically, it's just like, why don't you just try to do a better job, like versus trying to rig it? Like I don't.
Go out and talk to your constituents, find out what they want and what would win their vote, and then maybe work on that. It might help.
Yeah, and that's something else we need to work on, because a lot of these people are just arrogant. You know what I mean? Like if you talk about like Mitch McConnell, trying to go out and figure out what the people would want. It's just
doesn't care. Won't
know?
care. We'll die not caring. I mean, let's just be real.
No, it's true, and it's really frustrating. And I feel like a large number of people are getting to the point where like, okay, like what the hell do we do about this? And one of the big things is like running. So again, thank you for running.
Yeah.
Because like I definitely know it's not easy on any level.
It's very, very difficult. I mean, it's a lot of it is very fun and stimulating, which is cool. If you do like politics, it's very fun. It's very stimulating to run for office, and it's exciting. But there's a lot of garbage that you have to deal with. So you have to be willing to take all the good with the bad. And you know, most of the bad parts come from being a public figure. Like if you go from just not being a public figure at all, living your life, full privacy, to suddenly people scrutinizing you and sending you weird messages, and it gets bizarre, it gets weird.
Yeah, and we need to get more people in office so we could change a lot of these things. So it's not, we could just allow more people to be comfortable with running for office, because a lot of people won't run for office because they're just like, no, I don't want to be like randomly attacked and just scrutinized when I'm trying to help people. And that's one big thing people run into. So
that does happen. I mean, I think that like they said AOC had to hire like a whole staff department to deal with her death threats or something. Like it was like so many that she had to like hire someone to make sure that they were all dealt with and like,
that's insane.
Filed away and reported to the right places, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, we'll make some moves. We'll make some adjustments. Who's in the chat here? People shouting Heidi.
Hi, Poncho.
George. Hi, George. And me. Yeah, they're too far removed from normal people.
Yeah, that's what we have. We have, people representing us that don't represent us at all. I mean, they haven't worked a normal job in decades, if ever.
Yeah.
So that's not representation, by and for the people in my book.
Yeah. And to go along with the comment on normal people, have you felt like your story resonates with a lot of people in your district? I feel like they would relate more to you than an incumbent.
Yeah. They definitely do. That's definitely not, a stumbling block I have. I think a lot of people definitely relate to my story and my message, and it does resonate with them. Whether or not that translates to votes may be a different thing, because, some people do fear change, and kind of just the status quo is appealing because it's safe and, there's no variables like, oh, what if I get in there and I'm horrible or I embarrass them or something like. So there are those thoughts. And in my district, the person that was in the seat before the incumbent, Bonamici, had some scandal that broke out and was embarrassing, I guess. And they basically put in someone very safe. The Democratic Party kind of shoot in someone safe in a special election. And she's just been very safe. And that's kind of what role she was meant to play, for the party, to keep it a safe seat and not stir anything up. So I get that. That's more of the hurdle that I would have to overcome, is just, people worried about, I don't know, me doing something bizarre or something, or just like embarrassing.
No, and that's something I think it's probably time to go from like, hey, how about we have someone that'll actually work for the people? I mean, I'm sure she's doing some stuff, but if her main game plan is playing it safe, then I don't feel that would be a very effective.
It's not effective, but literally, like the main newspaper that endorsed her, the Willamette Week, that's what they said. They pretty much said she hasn't made many waves. Hasn't really risen to leadership, probably won't, but you know what? I think they said at least she didn't pose for a picture in a tiger suit, which is apparently what the last guy did. And that's what they find important. So they just said, we endorse Bonamici, and her competitors are nominal but interesting. But,
it's a pretty low bar to set.
Yeah, I would say. I was like, well, how about actually passing legislation? I don't know, like like writing some good solid bills that she hasn't really done. I mean, she's co-sponsored some good bills. She's done maybe a couple decent bills, but I mean, she's been there 8 years, so I would expect a lot more, some really strong legislation after nearly a decade.
Yeah, and it depends on, she's not looking through the same lens you're looking through. Like if you've been in Yang Gang a while, I mean, and your backstory goes right along with the story on the war on normal people, I feel like, because
Yeah.
I have a very similar background
Yeah.
where, you go through these things and sales seems like the best job for an income, best options. And, you jump around a lot, and it's just like previous generations got a job with one company. They stayed with that company like 30, 40 years, and they
possible.
ended up on a retirement. And nowadays that's just not possible.
It doesn't exist. And I mean, I feel it's weird. I was thinking about just like the boomer generation today, just like, what's it like when you're born into like a booming economy and people are having a ton of kids because everything's pretty much hunky-dory, and you kind of grow up, with like everything's great and I can do whatever I want, and you literally can. There's a lot of jobs, and there's different things. And then you grow up and you're older and you see younger people and you're just complaining.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that the economy is completely different because you didn't feel the effects. You haven't lived in it. You haven't realized that, it's very difficult to get a good job or any job often, especially one that pays you like a decent wage.
Man.
They just don't really exist. There's a lot of crappy jobs, a lot of bullshit jobs. And then there's a lot of really well-paying jobs. And the ones in the middle have pretty much been either automated away or eliminated, or there's just not like those middle management type of like jobs that educated people would get in the 80s. They're not really there. Like they want you to either be high level, or entry level. Good luck finding mid-level positions.
Yeah, it's true. And that was one of my biggest frustrations. Like when I was Yanged, when I discovered Andrew Yang, like in depth, that's one of the biggest things that resonated with me when he was talking about like young people. Yeah, young people are struggling, like legitimately struggling, and nobody's really talking about why. You know what I mean? Like there are actually systematic things where it's almost impossible to achieve what they want to achieve, but they don't know that there are issues with the system, so everybody's internalizing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But I'm sure you're like an entrepreneurial type, so you get into like self-help and mindset stuff, and that's kind of a road that, you kind of get forced down, I guess. It's sort of like, it's your mindset, like fix your mind, like it's all in your head. Like, and you're like, oh, okay, it's my mind. Like something's wrong with my mindset.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just read another book, or if I just listen to another meditation or something, then like suddenly the economy is just going to work for me. And you just find that that's not the case, and that there actually is systemic, things going on here.
Yeah, and that's I want more people to like hear that what Yang Gang talks about a lot. Like it's not you. Like there are systematic things that we need to fix, and they are fixable, but we need more people on board. And I feel like, like how many millions of people out there are dealing with the same exact things and still haven't really heard like about any solutions, you know what I mean? And that's what we need to, fix. So that's why I'm so excited when you decided to run, just because like it's hugely impactful. Like I've watched you go from like, hey, I'm thinking about running, to where you are now. And it's been huge. It's awesome.
Only been a couple of months. Yeah. I guess 3 months now. It's been like 3 months. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like time within an election goes, I don't know, it's warped.
It's very warped. Sometimes very fast, sometimes very slow, because you're like, oh my God, I need this to happen now. And then it's like, then it all of a sudden happens all at once. And you're like, oh my God, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
now what do I do? Like, okay, do I have enough time still? I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. You're like, oh, like everything just keeps happening. I know exactly what you mean. I can't articulate it, but I know exactly what you mean. So, and that's what we need to keep going, because I want to, still make sure we're making an impact on a wide scale. So
I think we need more people to run, and we need a lot more activity. I'm definitely going to write something about my run, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
To hopefully help other people, and let them know things that they can do that could make it easier from the jump, and consider, and kind of like a little playbook. Maybe it'll just be an article, or maybe I'll turn it into some kind of little booklet. But either way, like we we need to keep on running. We need to keep, trying to get people into Congress to make these policies happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one reason, like, we're like forwarding. I haven't talked to you specifically about this, but after my race ended, I was kind of staggering, like, okay, you go from, 100 to 0.
Yeah, you're like
very quickly. This isn't, it's not going to happen with you. But, so that's one thing where I wanted to help, but I didn't have like a good avenue. So that's one thing I want to build out with Forward United, just to be able to help people run and to make it so it's not as much of a struggle, I guess, because if you're doing it by yourself, especially like if you're working a full-time job, you're doing it by yourself, you're trying to figure this out, it's almost impossible.
Very difficult. I mean, I've been working a full-time job this whole time and running for Congress full-time and only had one staff person. So that's not easy, and it's difficult. It's frustrating. There were times when I'd be at work having to work on my actual job, and then I have like things that need to get taken care of, and I'm like, crap, I have to just put my actual work on hold, but still try to keep my job, and then go deal with this. And then I was like, at some point you're just like, oh my gosh, it's tough being a candidate because everything falls on you, and everything reflects on you too. So you don't want necessarily people out there doing things in your name that reflect on you. But then again, you literally can't handle everything. So you're like, well, you have to go do this. I don't know, like I'll like go do it and don't mess it up. And it's just kind of like, it's interesting.
No, it's a lot, and you're working your butt off, and hopefully the people in your district see how hard you're working, because, if you're an incumbent and you're getting paid to do political stuff, you're kind of
not really doing it. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they get paid a lot. It's not like they don't get paid a little bit.
175,000. Oh, geez, I'd be doing a lot more.
On top of they use their congressional budget for a lot of the stuff they do.
That's what I'm saying. And you have people, like, we were on a town hall with the incumbent, and you had people calling in being like, I'm drowning basically financially. Like, I can't get my unemployment. I don't know what to do. And they're just the same old platitudes, like, go contact my office. Or it's like, man, you got to do more than that. Like, you have resources. Let's be real. You're worth $7 million. You're making $175K a year. Like, I don't know, cut some checks. Like, show that you're doing something. Like, do something.
Yeah, and it's really, really frustrating because, especially in the time we're in right now, like, you would think if there's a time to do something, it would be right now.
Absolutely. So do something. Like, be out there delivering food, cut a check to somebody, do something, at least make some freaking phone calls and try to move some resources around. I mean, come on. Like, you can't just, write people off like that, especially right now.
Yeah, and I think more people are waking up to that, not just in the Yang, just like, hey, we do actually have a representative that's supposed to be helping us.
No, with everything. That's the thing that people don't realize is, like, technically your congressperson is supposed to help you with pretty much whatever you need help with. Like, that's their actual job, is constituent relations, is a whole entire department in the office. And I know, because I used to work in constituent relations when I worked in Sacramento. And our job was to figure out what the constituents needed, take their phone calls, help them out, use all of our resources to get things done for them. And that's on the state level. On the federal level, you can do even more.
Yeah.
I think, like, when I called my congressperson one time when I needed help, like, getting my passport, like, in a short time frame, and they, were able to help with that. It's just like, they can help with so many different things that you wouldn't think of, that technically we go and pay a service to do for us, or some private company, but it's actually their job, and our tax money technically goes to like helping the constituents in the district.
Yeah, imagine a world where your representative actually did what they were supposed to. You know what I mean? Like,
amazing. Yeah, with all your tax dollars and everything else. And then the fact that they just sit there and be like, well, there's really nothing we can do because the Republicans just vote against us. It's like, okay, like, I don't want to hear it. Like, you can't just blame the Republicans. Like, it's just not going to cut it anymore. And I hope people are waking up to that.
Yeah, they are waking up to it. And again, the version that we are running people for office is the version of the most friendly way that we're trying to make change. Like, there are other things in the works where like, we're gonna have to make some noise on a widespread level. to get their attention to do something, which is super frustrating. So I really hope the people in Oregon's first district are paying attention to Heidi, because like, honestly, if you were a representative, like, a lot would get done, like, period. A lot of good things would get done. You wouldn't have to worry about any scandals. A lot would get done. And like, it would be a net positive for everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I would work my butt off. This is like my second full-time job right now, just campaigning. So if you can imagine, if I didn't have another full-time job, I could devote all this energy and do some really cool things. I mean, the thing is like with technology, the fact that our reps aren't like doing enough with technology. I mean, I see some of the younger ones doing it, like they do live streams and they do reach out to their constituents, and but the older ones don't have any clue what they're doing. Sorry, but we need some technology in there.
Yeah, and to bring back the point earlier, I remembered what I was going to say. The boomer, again, like, it's just a reference point. Like, that generation that was raised fairly easily, was able to get a house cheaply, was able to get a job, stable job fairly easily. To have the people where they think that's the reality, and now they're the main group that's in office making decisions, is one key reason why a lot isn't like, there's so many people getting left behind, because in their mind they're just like, oh well, it's
what's your problem? Go get a job and get a house, and like, if you don't, then you're lazy.
Yeah, like, I paid $200 for a degree and like $10,000 for a house. Like, why can't you do that? You know what I mean? So,
oh god, my representative does that thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, we're past the point of trying to persuade them to take action. I've had this conversation.
For your jobs now. Sorry, like, now just move over now.
No, it's literally, I've been told that the older generations aren't going to pass the torch. Like, that's already been the conversation. Is in the past, the older generation would just pass the torch to the new generation, let them work, let them build,
mentor them, actually, like, help them with resources, whatever they needed, and actually like retire and move on and go home. Now they don't want to. My representative was asked 4 times in an interview when she planned to retire and never gave an answer, just said, I don't plan, no plans. And she's 65.
Yeah, she wants to stay there forever.
She couldn't say 70. She couldn't say 75. No time frame. Just, I have 0 plans to ever retire. And I'm like, really? Like, you don't think there should be any limit?
Well, also to have the ego to say that verbally in public, like, they're not only being like fairly corrupt, it's just how blatant it is. And it's
very blatant. Yeah, it's very blatant. I mean, she also does this line where she talks about how she paid for her school. She has this whole little spiel she does about, oh, well, I went to university and law school, paid for it with a combination of, she says, like, combination of grants and food stamps. I was on food stamps and work study programs, and
it's not even possible nowadays.
Right. And so I'm just like, wait a minute, like, representative, like, with all due respect, university costs at least 4 times as much as it did when you went, and income hasn't gone up. So where do you think people are getting this money that you said you got? I appreciate that you did that. That's good for you. But the reality on the ground is not the same anymore. We really just, we just need our generation in there. I mean, it's honestly, the millennials need to get in there and be like, we have to fix some problems now.
Because they're not getting solved otherwise. I mean, come on, you paid for, how the hell did you pay for a law degree with food stamps? That doesn't even make sense now. Like, grants and food, like, that's not even around anymore. But in the conversation of like, they're not passing the torch, the conversation ended with like, they're not going to pass the torch. If the torch is going to be passed, you have to take it.
Yeah.
So
you do. And that's the great thing, is that we can do that. I mean, we are the biggest voting bloc if we would get off our butts and vote.
Exactly.
So if we could really get everybody to register to vote and actually freaking vote for your own interests, then you can have representatives that will also represent your own interests, instead of having to complain about a bunch of older people not doing anything when there's the next crisis happens, and them not being proactive and not being ready, and always saying we don't have the money for everything, even though we, where does all this tax money go to?
Well, no, I mean, they're giving,
you know?
Yeah, they're giving money to Shake Shack, and the Lakers got like some of the payment
Lakers had to
protection
give
plan
it back.
money.
I'm like, no.
How'd you get it in the first place? Like, what the?
The Lakers are the only ones that gave it back. Everybody else was like, cool, thanks. Like,
Thanks. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's
Harvard got a few million.
That's ridiculous. And all these little, earmarks that made the bill 900 pages because everybody had to get their little,
Yeah.
thing in from the lobbyists that paid for their campaign. It's dirty. It's dirty money.
Yeah, like it's super frustrating. Like I was frustrated enough to run for Congress. I decided to run a little late. It was like October, and the primary was in March.
Yeah,
and that was pre. Yeah. And that was pre-COVID. So now you see everything that's going on. Like, really, like if you're not going to act now, when the hell are you actually going to act like appropriately? Like actually help the people. So I've lost any faith that the people in power are going to actually do anything. There are some that are, right. There are some people that are talking about an emergency UBI, recurrent payments, and to those people, like, cool, talk about, but actually get it done. But
I hope that does happen. I mean, it's very close to happening, I believe. So we'll see. But I mean, I think that if it does happen, if we get an EUBI or emergency UBI, then that's going to be the biggest pilot study of UBI ever done on a broad level, and we're going to have some amazing stories come out of it. And I hope somebody's doing a ton of research. If that does happen, we need to have organizations researching that and quantifying data and everything that needs to be done, so that there's absolutely no question once it's over that this needs to be permanent in some form.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what a lot is going on right now. And I feel like the $2,000 is a good mark for the emergency UBI.
Yeah.
So that it'll just step down to a permanent UBI at a smaller amount.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely doable. I don't know why the conversations aren't including any sort of VAT as a way of funding these things.
Well, yeah, I don't know if they could. I don't know. I think instituting a VAT right now, I think they're just, if everybody's shut down and the production's shut down and the consumption is shut down, then
that's the thing.
They can just mint some coins real quick and then move on.
I know, but like, for example, like Amazon stocks that like an all-time high, like Walmart and all these super, super rich companies that are actually like were able to remain open. They're actually like made a ton of money. So it's like, hey, why don't y'all put a consumption tax on that? Have it loop around, go back towards the people. Like, there's no reason Jeff Bezos needs to like increase his wealth by billions of dollars in a crisis. Like,
oh yeah, I agree. I just think having a brand new tax is a big hurdle, and we just need to like get this done real quick. And so, like, rather than
I agree. I am speaking in a post-candidate tone.
Yeah, post-candidate tone. I get you.
so I've gotten a little more salty after my race, so that's where that tone comes from. But
that's fun. Something to look forward to, possibly. We'll see.
No, you're gonna go through. You're gonna be in there. It's all good. No, seriously. Like, honestly, if I was in Oregon, because I've looked through the candidates, I looked into it. I was like, if I actually looked at the candidates, like Heidi would be a no-brainer. Like,
that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping people have the time right now to look into it and be like, I got nothing else to do. Let me look into it.
Yeah, actually look into it, and don't just check a name based on like name recognition, because that's the reason why like 85% of the incumbents stay in there. Just, oh, I know this name.
Exactly. Hopefully they coast off of that. I have a few advantages. I'm the only one running like consistent ads like on Facebook and other places. And I also got first name on the ballot, which will give me a boost.
I saw that.
And for some reason they didn't put incumbent under the incumbent. I have no idea why, but that's not on the ballot. So if people don't know who she is, they might assume I'm the incumbent because my name's first. I don't know. So there's some lucky, interesting things that we'll see how they play out. Yeah.
I'm excited. When will you actually start getting the results? Do you know?
May 19th.
Like
apparently, Yeah, I mean, apparently, from what I've heard, I haven't followed elections that closely in Oregon yet, but from what I've heard from the other people running is that if she just like destroys us, they might just like release all the results really quick. But
but
if it's weird, if they're like, what the heck, if
it's close, they're gonna
yeah,
scrutinize it more.
close, they'll go county by county. Apparently, when it's a close election, they'll start going county or area by area and making sure what they're seeing is accurate. So I'm hoping they see some, interesting things coming up, and they take their time, and then count the votes more slowly. But when it's like a huge, massive blowout, they tend to just call it real early. So May 19th, we'll see. Could go late into the night, or it could be an early deal.
It'll go late. It'll go late. Yes, we need more Gen X and millennial candidates. And again, that's one of the big goals, is just to make it easier for people to run. Like I'm glad in Oregon you didn't have to go through a lot of the crazy fees and stuff.
Yeah, well, I got my signatures. I mean, the fee to get in the pamphlet is $2,500 actually, but I got my 300 signatures. So
see, that's amazing. So to get on the ballot in Oregon was like $100, right?
$100.
Yeah, in California it was $1,700.
Yeah.
And then the pamphlet thing here, for whatever reason, is $17,000.
17,000.
Yeah, so I didn't get
there's
there.
There's no signature option? Or?
No, there's not. Nope.
Oh, that's wrong. Okay.
17,000 per county.
Per
county, so 3 times 17,000. Yeah, you can figure that out. It's
Oregon has a way lower barrier of entry. I mean, honestly, if I would have looked at it when I was looking into things, like right after Andrew suspended, and it was like $2,000 here, 17,000 here, I might have been like, maybe not. Like, but since it was $100, I was like, $100.
Hell yeah!
I'm on the ballot right now. I just paid it. Yeah,
that's awesome. I know it needs to be more level like that.
Yeah, it needs to be. Oh, thank you. No, yeah, it was very exciting. It was really cool to be one of the few Mandy Ford endorsed candidates. It feels good.
Hell yeah! Andrew tweeted that I was a nice guy at one point, but Humanity Forward wasn't really a thing. So that's.
Did you frame it like on your wall? Is it like
I
you
did.
Put it out and it's like.
He did call me. He called me Jim instead of James, which is fine. I'll accept it. But
Jim, did you ever go by Jim?
No, but okay. I will for Andrew.
You're like, you call me whatever you want, man.
You call me exactly.
You call me Billy Bob for all I care. Just talk to me.
That's Billy Bob. Actually, my first name is James. My middle name is Robert. So my hillbilly name is Jim Bob. So it's Jim close. Bob. Billy Bob is close.
Yeah. I have a good friend named Billy Bob. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, he goes by Bob, but technically he's a William Robert. So he's technically a Billy Bob. Yeah, and so his family does call him Billy Bob. True story, but he goes by Bob.
That could have almost been me, because my dad's dad is William and my mom's dad is Robert. So
that's a Billy Bob. That's for Billy Bob. We put those together.
No, didn't have very inventive names back then.
It's really funny how many you just like work with a lot of people, and all the dudes have like the same names. There's like probably like a dozen names that rotate, and like 90% of the guys I work with have the same name. They're either a Michael or a John, or like James is pretty common too, or a James. There's a limited amount. Girls, for some reason, there's more girls' names. Yep. Hi, Megan.
He spelled my name wrong once.
Oh, dang. Well, you got the I-N. It is I guess that's a little tricky sometimes. But he could have just looked, there's also that.
Oh, good. Tony has a question. Heidi, based on your previous experience at the Tesla factory, you think they can operate that place while using social distancing and minimizing COVID spread?
No.
Elon sacrificed productivity? No.
That place was no. That place was a mess of safety issues, just due to us being so pressed to produce. And also I mean, some of the people that work there, I mean, I love my coworkers, but they weren't really thinking about a whole lot except like just trying to get through the shift and get their paycheck. So I'd say it's going to be very difficult. I mean, we did wear gloves already, and we did sanitize everything a lot. But social distancing, almost impossible when you're working in production like that, because you have to be passing things to each other and you have to be, really in close proximity. I guess you could have masks and gloves, but there's no way you can actually stay 6 feet apart when you're like producing things on a production line. So no, based on my experience, there's not a real way to do that. So you just have to. I mean, people will risk it going in, I'm sure, like them, just based on my knowledge of the Tesla factory in Reno. I don't know how Fremont works, but I'm sure they're itching to go back to work too, because it does pay well.
Yeah, and I worked for another Elon company, Solar City, back in the day.
Okay.
And
you're selling roofs or?
Yeah, salesman for the solar part. So I would so the productivity side of Elon, like I saw that too. We're just like
go, yeah, do this.
Which is fine, but like the coronavirus kind of throws a ratchet into it. So
yeah, that would be tough. I gotta say, it's gonna be tough to work in any sort of place like that. I mean, like Amazon, Tesla, any kind of production or factory or just distribution center. Keep that safe with something like coronavirus. Incredibly difficult, I would say.
Yep. Elon only cares about getting to Mars. It's accurate.
Pretty much. That's definitely the main goal. That's number one. He has a lot of side hustles, but that's
And for the record, I'm a huge fan of Elon. I'm an Elon nerd.
I am too. I mean, he does some questionable things, but what are you gonna do when you're like a super genius billionaire who you're gonna get weird? Like, I don't know.
I was hoping that he was just practicing some crazy stuff along Trump lines to like test the waters for an independent presidential run. I know that's not what he was doing, but in the last like few weeks, it just seems like he's throwing anything and everything out there.
It's actually genius. I mean, it's weird. Politics is so weird. Like I've had people contact me and be like, there's something that really bothers me about you, but I voted for you and because you were the best one, like things like that. Like it's like weird how and I think it shows when you look at presidential candidates and you're like, who likes these people, Like who likes like Clinton and Trump? Like the last cycle, you're like, what? And who likes Biden and Trump? Like it's like meh. But you'd be surprised. It's weird. Like it's like it's not necessarily a popularity contest. It's like an emotional contest. It's like how well do you tap in to someone's emotions? And sometimes they don't even have to like you. They can just be so emotional about you. Or so emotional about your opponent that they hate your opponent so much. It's a lot of factors. It's not always like, who's more popular or who's more liked. A lot of times the most liked person loses. And I'd be like, yeah, I really liked them. I just liked them. I don't know. Didn't really feel much. Just thought they were cool. Nice guy. But I didn't vote for him.
I know.
It's weird. It's bizarre.
That's why we got to get Heidi in front of more people.
I hope so.
Nell is a fan of wrong one. Does Heidi know any dad jokes by chance or mom jokes? I mean, either one.
Oh God, I'm neither a dad nor a mom, and I'm fairly funny, but I'm not good at jokes. I don't know. I'm only funny contextually. I don't know.
He said this because I have a habit of posting some nerdy dad jokes.
Oh, I've seen them. I've seen them. You're not hiding them. Yeah. We've seen them. No, you do have some really good dad jokes, definitely. And we've all enjoyed seeing more of them since you're not running anymore. That's always the fun thing about when somebody stops running for office, at least for a little bit, and then they just post like.
I know. I should have been doing stuff like that the whole time to make it more relatable, but at the time it was just like go, go, go. It was really hard to take a step back and like
stressed,
look at stuff, evaluate, and then like which is fine.
It's a lot. Yeah, I try to do that. I try to be like political, personal, and then like political again, and then personal, and then I try to do it as much as I can, but it is difficult. It's difficult balance.
Nell. Okay, I got one for you. Harry Potter could be a great mafia boss because he always catches the snitch. No. It's 50% of the time they work every time. So
sometimes they don't work, they work even more though. So you never know.
Exactly. So no. So post my campaign, my dad jokes are more popular than activism stuff. But we're fixing that. So where can people find you? Where can people find you? Where can they donate to you? Where can they volunteer?
Yeah, sure. Go to Heidi2020.com. It does redirect to my new address, but you can still do it. Heidi2020.com. You can do /donate if you want to go straight to the donate page. You can do Heidi2020.com /call if you want to hit the phone bank, which is open. The dialer is open. So please get in there. It's really simple conversations, and overwhelmingly, most people, have been undecided and open to hearing about me, which is as simple as it is. So, we're going to try to release some cool things later this week, possibly a contest for phone banking. But right now, plug in, get into Heidi2020.com and, just help out. We're at the final push. We got 10 days here. If you want to donate, definitely appreciate it. If you want to phone bank, that's awesome.
Yes. And it's a mail by vote by mail. I can't talk. Vote by mail state. So people are voting right now. So if you're able to, if you're able to donate, please donate, because that is huge, especially when running a grassroots campaign. It's just
crazy expensive.
Anything helps. If you're able to jump on the dialer, please do so, because again, a lot of voters just need that contact, and they will get off the phone with you, fill out their mail-in ballots, and I feel like that's very, very efficient in terms of phone or text banking. That's awesome.
Yeah, you could get somebody to vote for me right on the phone with you. I mean, that can happen. So it's powerful. It's definitely powerful. And about half the people apparently wait till the last minute. So there's still a lot of people out there that haven't voted yet. So definitely, if you can make some calls and have them at least hear about me, then I definitely have a huge shot here.
Hey. Yes. Well, you have the entire Yang Gang behind you.
Thank you so much, Megan. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on here. It's nice to finally talk.
I know. Well, we gotta do it again. We'll do it again when things calm down.
After you win in November, right?
After I win in November,
that's when it's gonna calm down.
Well, it wouldn't really calm down ever.
I know. I said it in my head, but then I was like, wait a minute. It's all right.
You guys don't realize, just so you know, me winning would be AOC level, as far as an upset, as far as media coverage, as far as press for UBI and all the policies we're trying to push forward. It would be that level, because it would be incredibly shocking, because I would come from nowhere. So you can be a part of that level of a campaign. So hopefully it doesn't calm down, and I'm incredibly busy for quite a while helping people. Thanks, Jennifer. How sweet.
Yes, everybody has your back.
I love you guys.
Yes, we love you too. My wife Megan says hi.
Hi, Megan. Says hi. Yeah, I like her bio on Twitter. It was very confusing, but then I realized, or was it your wife's bio? I can't remember. Anyway, I figured out how to add her. I think I follow her. I believe.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you, Heidi's wife, because I can tell you from experience, the number of stuff I had to go run around and do. It takes a lot for the spouses too. So thanks a lot for Heidi's wife.
My wife is a champion. She's basically handles everything and works full time and deals with my moody, crabby butt when I'm stressed out and I'm complaining about, I don't understand why this is happening. Oh my God, okay. What do I do? I'm nothing, just listen to me. So it's that kind of thing. So yeah, Jenna is a champion, works just as hard, if not harder than me. So she's a part of this movement too.
Yes. Thanks, Jenna, for everything you do. If and when you ever hear this, for sure. Thank you, Heidi, for everything you do. Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody.
of
That's
course. Thank you, James. Thank you for everything you do and for running. And you were one of the people that inspired me that I could jump in, and you were really encouraging at the beginning. So I can't thank you enough. And what you're doing now, either way, we're going to keep working together forever, and it's a beautiful thing. I love it.
Yes, I do too. I appreciate that, and I really I'm really looking forward to getting a lot done moving forward because
Forward
there's
United.
Forward United. Yeah, that's we're gonna get a lot done. I'm excited. Like I could feel the momentum around what we're doing. I could
Yeah.
feel the momentum around you. Like I'm really excited to see everything you do. So thank you again for joining me, Heidi. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.